Prime Minister Netanyahu, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Hamas tried to stop me from being on the podcast. You know, Hamas was trying to intercept the Wi-Fi connection.
You know, ever since I started learning about the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict, I've drawn a lot of parallels between the tactics used by those who push multi-level marketing and the tactics used by those who defend Israel and its occupation of Palestine, Gaza, etc. I'll give you an example. Multi-level marketing claims to be the greatest income opportunity in the world, despite the fact that every income disclosure of an MLM company that you analyze, they admit, they publish the fact that most people actually end up losing money. Another example is just simply the name, multi-level marketing. This is a rebranding of pyramid schemes. Think about Israel. Their army is called the Israeli Defense Force. Saying that you're defending sounds a lot better than attacking, despite the fact that we've seen so many reports now, if you've even been following this at a glance, that suggests that Israel is plausibly committing genocide against a basically unarmed population, mostly women and children. And when it comes to criticizing either of these things, you recognize the same hypocrisies levied at critics in both. So when I point out things like most people in MLMs lose money, they call you a hater, a broke-minded loser, stinking thinking, you know? And when this happens, I have to point out the hypocrisy and remind these people that, hey, you guys who are preaching about time freedom and financial freedom, you're calling me a hater. I'm literally a YouTuber for my career. I actually am an independent business owner who can wake up without an alarm clock and choose to work or not to work. You know, the things they claim like, oh, I could work by the beach if I want to. When have they ever done that? They've never done that. Not that any sane person would want to do work while they're chilling on the beach, but you get my point. And likewise with Israel, if you criticize what they do, they call you an anti-Semite. And again, I have to point out the hypocrisy here too. I actually am a Semite. I am a Semitic person. I'm Lebanese, you know, and arguably there is nothing more anti-Semitic than a Semitic people genociding another group of Semitic people. And what a rare and sort of stunning opportunity it is to see somebody who is a prolific pusher of multi-level marketing, Patrick Bet-David. You know, this is a guy who made his wealth, as far as we can tell, from this multi-level marketing insurance company called PHP, People Helping People, or as I like to call it, People Helping Patrick. Congratulations are in order to Patrick. He has reached the final phase of selling out. He's reached the final level of selling out, doing an interview, a softball interview with the Prime Minister of Israel, who is and has been for the last year plausibly committing a genocide upon the people of Palestine. So, you know, congrats to Patrick on the come up. I mean, his narcissistic nature can't not agree to do this interview or seek it out. And Netanyahu, under so much scrutiny across the globe, is like on this sort of like press tour. You know, he went on the Nelk Boys podcast and the Nelk Boys are asking him, do you prefer McDonald's or Burger King? Meanwhile, people in Palestine are literally experiencing a famine because there's no aid coming in, and the aid that is coming in is insufficient, and the people are literally starving to death. I mean, I can't believe you've done this.
30 seconds. Did you ever think you would make it?
Oh my God, this fucking song, you know.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Good to be with you, Patrick.
I'm surprised Bibi's first thing that he said wasn't, Hamas tried to stop me from being on the podcast. You know, Hamas was trying to intercept the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, I mean, I have to make light of the situation, you know. If I didn't laugh, I would cry, as they say.
Why are you doing this podcast tour?
Well, number one, because I heard that you invited me. Number two, because I think it's a way to puncture the lies and the vilifications that are leveled at Israel. And I think that's part of the, you know, we have a 7-front war with Iran and its proxies, but this is the 8th front.
Play the compilation of Netanyahu saying, Iran is only a few months away from developing a nuclear weapon. And the clips of him saying that goes back to like the early 2000s or something.
Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything,
nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Why do you think so many countries are unfavorable of Israel today?
They're anti-Semitic. They're lying. Because Hamas propaganda.
Yeah, have you heard of this? I mean, this is disgusting, but they talk about Pallywood, and they say, you know, that they fake the videos of like dead babies and stuff. They say it's like a baby doll, for example. Just horrible.
I think it's a combination of historical trends, but also of the impact of social media, especially engineered social media with paid bots. But I think the most important thing is that for democracies to fight wars, they should be as short as possible. And my way of combating the PR war is by winning the ground war and winning it quickly. The quicker you win it, the better you'll come out of this this assault.
How the fuck? That wasn't even an answer. You didn't even answer the question, Benjamin. You know Netanyahu's not even his real name, by the way, but I'm an anti-Semite if I say that. I mean, it's just remarkable already, the babbling.
Especially in America, there's 3 different types of people on social media right now, or in America, that follow you. One, they fully believe you're committing a genocide right now. They're part of the community that's thinking they compare you to some dictators, some terrible leaders in the past, many names you've heard of before. Some of them are blindly supportive of what you're doing, but there's the other community that's almost a little bit burned out, that's wanting this story to end. Obviously, it's tragic. You know, we're seeing what's going on. We're seeing all the stories, but why do you think this is taking longer than it's taking?
Well, I don't think it's taken longer than it's taking. Look at what we had to fight. We were attacked viciously by the most savage attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust.
Take a shot every time he says Hamas, Holocaust, anti-Semitism. We'll be drunk before this thing's even half over, you know? we'll be dying of liver failure before this thing is half over. You know what's so funny? I read a thing that was like, Israel finally got their own country after however many centuries in 1948. And in less than 100 years, they've become the most hated country in the world. But everyone else is lying. Everyone else is wrong. Everyone else is the anti-Semite.
By Hamas on October 7th.
Oh, Hamas! Everyone, don't worry. Don't worry. It was just Hamas. As always, it's fine. Guys, everything in the world is fine. Trump promised the Epstein files are not worth looking into. It's boring. Israel's not doing anything wrong. Epstein definitely didn't work for Israel. Hamas bad. You know, Palestine, it is what it is. Doesn't that make you feel better?
It takes time, but I think we're approaching the final leg, and that's really finishing off Hamas. We can't have those monsters at spitting distance from Tel Aviv and our communities.
Let me ask y'all a question, okay? And this is to anyone, whoever wants to answer. BB, if you're watching, please answer this. How is it possible that they're even like attempting to frame this conflict as a war when you have one side who has the backing of the most powerful military force in human history, and the other side, on the other side of that wall, you know, it's like the famous example of a kid with a rock versus a tank. What does Hamas have? Short range, like RPG rockets that they fire from their shoulder? Never mind the fact Israel has the Iron Dome, you know, the anti-air missile defense system. And you're talking about an occupied population, mostly women and children, once again, who have never known anything outside of that wall, who have never known anything but being oppressed and occupied. It's literally Arkham City. If you've ever played Batman Arkham City with the wall, it's basically what it is. When I hear about Hamas, I'll put some pictures up of the before and after of what Gaza actually looks like. I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. Even pictures from World War II of rubble in like Poland or Germany doesn't even compare. They have erased an entire city. Erased it. And I've never seen anything like that, you know? I'll put my source up for what I'm saying right here, but the amount of tonnage of bombs, the amount of explosive force that has been used is more than Hiroshima and Nagasaki so far in Palestine. And I just wonder, Hamas is in the hospital, so we had to blow up the hospital. Hamas was in the elementary school, we had to blow up the elementary school. Hamas was hiding under the orphanage, we had to blow up the orphanage. Oh, we told people to go to the aid site, and then when they went to the aid site, we fired on them and we killed them, you know? What I want to know, and this is a genuinely good faith question for what would inevitably be a bad faith answer in response. What actual threat could Hamas possibly pose at this point? You've erased the entire city. Oh, they're in the underground tunnels. With what? With what? You know what I mean? It's like, will it coincidentally come to the point where once every Palestinian is dead, then they'll say, you know, that we got all of Hamas? Don't these guys have drones that can like target a specific unit of an office building or a specific unit of an apartment building. But no, they're like, let's just blow up the whole building. Because I guess there's the risk. If you don't blow up the whole building, we might have missed a couple. Oh, Hamas was using human shields. In what world is it the right thing then to then just shoot through the hostages, basically, or blow up the hostages as well? Again, I'm being gracious. I'm being courteous to the suggestion that Hamas was using human shields. Okay, and even Israel's own human rights. Was it B'Tselem? This is their website, B'Tselem. This is an Israeli organization, the Israeli Information Center for Human Rights in the Occupied Territories. And they say, for nearly 2 years, Israel has been committing genocide in Gaza, acting in a systematic, deliberate way to destroy Palestinian society through mass killing, Israel openly promoting ethnic cleansing, and the destruction of life-sustaining infrastructure for individuals and the group, with 2 million people being starved, displaced, bombed, and left by the world to die. Somebody in the chat said, Israel flag is 2 pyramids intertwined. Coincidence? I think not. Interesting.
I look at the critics and they're giving, hey, let me tell you, it's not fair what he's doing with this. And you see ICC, which the average person, when they see ICC, 124 countries, that if you step foot in their country, they're supposed to arrest you, okay? And they're calling you a wartime criminal, the offenses you've done, the amount of, again, like I said earlier, they're calling it a genocide. How do you answer to the critics that they don't follow politics, they don't follow the stories closely?
So this is the International Criminal Court site. It says, defendant, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, arrest warrant issued November 21st, 2024, allegedly responsible for the war crimes of starvation as a method of warfare and of intentionally directing an attack against the civilian population and the crimes against humanity of murder, persecution, and other inhumane acts from at least October 8th, 2023 until at least May 20th, 2024.
Yeah, well, they said that about Churchill too. He was a warmonger when he was talking about the German Axis and the danger to the West. In the United Nations, you have 180 countries, 190 countries, and a great majority would tell you that the earth is flat. It doesn't make it flat. And the vilifications against Israel is a country committing genocide and other war crimes. That doesn't make it true either. Let me tell you, did you ask me about the ICC prosecution just now? Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you about that.
Okay, before he tells us about that, I want to say one thing. Netanyahu answering this question by first comparing himself to Churchill reminds me a lot of the deflections used by people in MLM when you point out that the thing they're doing is a scam based on the income disclosure, the deceptive claims, etc. And they'll say, oh, well, you know what the real scam is? College. And then they'll say a bunch of things about college and the percentage of people who drop out and the percentage of people who aren't able to get a job after college, etc., etc. To those people, I always say, you know what? Yeah, you make some great points. Maybe there are some things that are valid criticisms of why college isn't the best route for most people today or for a group of people today. But something else being a scam doesn't make the thing you're doing, being MLM, not a scam. Likewise, comparing yourself to someone else who did unforgivable or bad things or questionable things doesn't wash away your own things. There's a saying, wrong is wrong, even if everyone else is doing it, and right is right, even if no one else is doing it.
This ICC prosecutor was going to come to Israel in the beginning of the war. And he said, well, Israel has, it has a proper judicial system, and, I don't see any real problem there. And he was about to come. A day before he's about to come, he suddenly cancels the trip. And 2 days later, he issues this war crimes charge against me and the former defense minister. And we didn't understand, why did he do it? It took us months to discover that a few days before that, he was confronted by one of his staff members, a senior staff members, who brought the charges of rape and sexual misconduct that this prosecutor carried out against one of his staff members, a woman, a Malaysian woman, by the way, who was fiercely anti-Israel. But she had suffered this harassment and these rapes for over a year. And Khan believed that this was his ruin. His brother, who's a British parliamentarian, was in jail for sexual misconduct too. So he said, that's it, that's the end of me. And then he figured out that there's one way to get out of this, and that is to deflect the entire conversation, to preempt it by blaming the Jews. This ICC, this corrupt ICC prosecutor, thought that he would escape justice by basically by condemning us.
How does that even make sense? Let's give Bibi the benefit of the doubt and say that it is true that this ICC guy was some sort of sexual deviant. How does him, then accusing Israel of genocide or whatever war crimes he accused them of, help him to escape his persecution or prosecution of his sexual deviancy. Make it make sense. Somebody explain.
And that's why the United States is not a member. They won't tell the United States that its soldiers are committing war crimes.
Right, that's why. That's why the United States is not a member of the International Criminal Court. Not because of AIPAC, not because of the
billions and billions
of lobbying dollars, right? Not because of any of that.
And that's why the bond is so strong. It's not only a bond of values of our common Judeo-Christian civilization.
I love this term, Judeo-Christian. That's got to be one of the biggest inverse mindfuck propagandistic terms of all time. Judeo-Christian. Just go ahead and do some research for yourself about what Judaism in the Talmud and the Torah says about Jesus and Christianity and Christians. Go on, you know what? I'll do it for you. We're going to go on YouTube right now, and I'm going to search up spitting on Christians Israel. Here's a video, 11 million views 2 years ago, Middle East Eye. Israeli ultra-Orthodox Jews spit on Christians in churches. 2 years ago, spitting, hitting attacks on Christians are surging in Israel. Occupied East Jerusalem, outrage over ultra-Orthodox Jews spitting at Christians. Israeli leaders sharply criticized Orthodox spitting incidents. Sure. Spitting at Christian clergymen in Jerusalem. Jews spit at Christians in Jerusalem. Christians get spit on in Israel. Prime Minister Ben-Gvir defends spitting on Christians. Love that. Here's a playlist with 10 videos called Israelis Spit on Christians. Spitting on Christians and churches, old Jewish tradition, says Israeli security minister. Jewish Israelis caught spitting on Christians. Shocking. That's 3 months ago. Our greatest ally, everyone. All those videos were made by Hamas. They're all fake.
Prime Minister, what do you say to the critics who say, Israel owns America, Israel is who makes America do things they want them to do, whether it's through AIPAC, whether it's through, funding, money. You'll typically hear this. This has been overly said the last couple of years in a major way. And there's a community of Americans that at this point believe that whatever Israel wants, they make a phone call to America. America better do or else. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely not. I think it's full of hokum. First of all, do you know President Trump? I mean, sort of, I've known him for many years.
Sure.
Okay. You don't make him do anything. He does what he thinks is in America's interest.
Unless, of course, there's an Israeli intelligence asset who has photo/video evidence of Trump and every other powerful American politician and socialite and celebrity, etc., committing acts that are unforgivable as a means of blackmail. But that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
He said, well, how are you going to do it then? I said, Tony, we'll fight with our fingernails if we have to. But we're not going to leave. It's like the Allies would leave a quarter of the German battalions in place and not go into Berlin.
It's so funny when Netanyahu, or honestly anyone who defends Israel, tries to talk about the IDF and Israelis as these brave warriors who will do anything. When I like what Norman Finkelstein said about the IDF, that they're not soldiers, they're video game players.
Israel is very good at playing video games, sitting behind a computer and killing people. For real, not just virtually. They're very good at that. They're the best mass murderers out there, for sure. But actual combat, that's not their game.
All of the photos that I've seen of Israeli soldiers, they're there after the fact. They're there standing in the rubble, posing for photos and having a good time and whatever. I've never seen video of them in combat or fighting. Their warfare essentially consists of drone strikes. You're looking at a tablet on a screen controlling some drone airstrike, which obviously that's what you're doing, because how else can you level an entire building or a block or a city? From the air, from the sky. And then you go there after the fact, because obviously.
But we do seek to control our destiny. And when somebody commits a crime like they did on October 7th, decapitating our men, raping our women, and then murdering.
Unsubstantiated. Both of those claims unsubstantiated.
Burning children alive.
Also unsubstantiated.
In front of their parents.
Burning the children alive in front of their parents. I wonder what else has the propensity to burn children alive in front of their parents. Could it be dropping bombs and missiles on an apartment building or a hospital or an orphanage or a school, again, every accusation is a confession. Does anyone believe any of this shit anymore? Honestly. You got one guy in my chat earlier who was like, as a supporter of Israel, I won't be watching this stream. That sort of sums it up, doesn't it? They just look away. They just shut it off. They just stonewall, put their head in the sand. Because God forbid you would actually have to, you know, face a different viewpoint at minimum, and at maximum, face the truth. Maybe Patrick can add BB to his painting with MLK and Tupac. So true and so funny. Is it just my deep-rooted anti-Semitism that makes me feel like Netanyahu just objectively looks like a bad guy? It's the eyes, you know? It's like I've talked about the dead eyes before. It's like if you put your hand on the screen to cover up his mouth, like even when he's smirking or smiling, his eyes are just, there's just no expression in them. As a matter of fact, there's not no expression. It's almost like a sinister expression. But I'm sure that's just me being bigoted.
I'd be okay with any governance that, civilian governance in Gaza, that doesn't teach its children to annihilate Israel.
Another accusation that's really a confession. You know, there's a guy on TikTok, his whole page is literally him on like Omegle or one of these like chat roulette type websites talking to Israeli people, and they just tell on themselves.
What happened?
I know you.
Where are you from?
Israel.
You love my videos or something?
Yes.
Yeah? I'm from Palestine.
Fuck Palestine.
Are you a fan of me?
No.
That's questionable after that reaction. Do you like my videos? You just said yes. You love my videos or something?
Yes.
The truth came out. Where are you from?
You won't like the answer.
Okay, from Israel. You like my videos?
No, because you support Palestine. Do you think we want civilians? We're not. We
8-year-old huh?
Yes.
The 12,000 that were... How many of those are terrorists?
That's their problem. We told them.
That's their problem.
Gaza. We told them to leave Gaza.
Think about that for a second. We told them to leave. Isn't part of the story of the Jewish struggle them being kicked out of different countries? When did the same people who were kicked out of countries for, you know, persecution and for, you know, no good reason, the same people are saying we told them to leave? Oh, too bad, so sad. Oh, your elementary school got blown up? Told you to leave. We told you to leave from Arkham City, the place that you're literally walled into, where you're not allowed to leave, but we told you to leave.
Where is they gonna go? Where?
They can go to Egypt.
Yeah, where should they go? Walk into the ocean and just, you know, make the best of it? Won't even show her fucking full face on the thing, you know?
You love Israel? Palestine or Israel? You love Israel? Palestine or Israel?
Why are you being aggressive?
And bro, like if you see some of the full uncut clips of these like chat roulette things, they'll literally like, it'll be the very first thing they say. Like, hey, how are you? Where are you from? Israel. Do you support Israel?
Can you chill?
Palestine. Palestine or Israel? אתה לא מבין?
I will answer your question if you calm down.
Palestine or Israel?
Why are you so aggressive? Why are you...
You are Lametin?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, where are you from? Israel?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm from Palestine.
See what I mean? Like, he didn't even say anything political. He just said where he's from geographically. Again, going back to Netanyahu saying, they're teaching their children to blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're teaching their children that? And, you know, here's a video. What are they going to say? This was doctored. This is Pallywood. This is a child. He greets her. Hello. Hi. Where did she learn this from? And also, if you want to say, oh, well, it's not Israelis, it's the IDF, you realize the IDF is a civilian army, right? Like, there's mandatory conscription, and you can go to jail if you decline to serve. You know, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, was in the IDF. Ela Klein, Ethan Klein's wife, was in the IDF.
There are 1 million children in Gaza. You said you want them all gone?
After our hostages come back, then Gaza.
When the hostages come back, you'll Gaza?
I want that.
So when the hostages return, you want to Gaza? And you want...
Yeah, so even when they get the hostages, okay.
I'm from Palestine.
Free Israel, you mother...
Free Israel from what?
I mean, it's just so sad.
Where are you from?
Israel.
Israel. I'm from Palestine.
Israel. From Israel.
Palestine. Why?
Everyone who lives in Gaza want to kill me.
No.
Everyone who lives in Gaza wants to kill me. You know, this is something I've been thinking about, right? I'm sure that when you learned about World War II in high school, somebody in the classroom asked, why did the German people go along with it? Maybe you were told that the German people didn't know about it, which you can certainly make an argument for that based on the fact that they didn't have the internet, you know, it was the 40s, whatever. But How do you explain then the everyday people of Israeli society who say the most hateful, evil things, going back to the similarities between MLM and this? It's a delusional us versus them, self-righteous, self-indulgent, narcissistic fantasy that ultimately only leads them to their own peril. If you're not pro MLM, if you're not going to get recruited under me in my MLM, you have stinking thinking. You're a broke-minded loser who should go back to working their job, journey of the broke, just over broke. And look at these people, oh, where are you from? Palestine. And they just, they lash out. They attack the source, not the argument, Congrats, Patrick. Knob officially polished. Well done.
Netanyahu, thank you so much for your time. Again, I appreciate you for your time today.
Let's see what the comments from Patrick's own community, his subscribers, are saying about this amazing interview. Not a single question on Gaza, the civilian killings, leveling of Gaza, starvation, occupation. That tells you a lot. That's the top comment with 7.2K likes. PBD now classifies as propaganda. We see right through this shit, dude. What a shame. I miss when YouTube showed us how many dislikes a video has. Epstein didn't come up at all. Yeah, no shit. For a guy who, if we go to Patrick's podcast channel page, let's see how many of the most recent videos mention Epstein in the thumbnail or the title. Michael Wolf opens up about Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is alive 1 month ago. Mossad is reckless. Mossad launching missiles in Iran. Trump built their careers. Laura Loomer slams Epstein cover-up. No one's ever seen this. James O'Keefe breaks Epstein files. Most obvious damage control run of all time. PBD is propaganda. PBD is propaganda. Nothing else but propaganda after this, Netanyahu. Pure evil personified, given a platform by PBD. Yup. Clearly, PBD did not learn anything from the Nelk idiots. PBD asked 0 questions about the actual genocide. Think about that for just a second. What a sick world we live in where people interview war criminals for views. You know you suck when the left and the right is calling you out. This dude would do anything for viewers and money. He's no different than mainstream media. You're the system we all hate. Let it be known PBD is a spineless hack. PBD has always been a sellout. This interview is the nail in the coffin. A conversation between the devil and a clown, unfollowed. Once a fraud, always a fraud, huh, Patrick? On and on and on. Let me go ahead and, just for good measure, hit this with a dislike. If I wake up tomorrow and my channel is deleted, we know why.